Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. Put the flags up here. There we go. Y'all don't have to see my home office. I am actually coming to you from home today. I am not going in the courtroom. Some of you were with me when Zoom failed. It's been failing in the courthouse a fair amount, so I decided not to risk that. I'm going to just come to you from here. It doesn't really matter where we all are at this point, does it? We are on the record. My assistant has put us on the record in Courtroom 1 Alpha, and we are on live stream as always. I wanted to start by making an announcement. I think I've made a brief announcement about this before, but time got away from me. So we are preparing immediately for the Gulf Coast Runners Half Marathon. That is an event that typically I make mandatory for all drug court participants to volunteer. I guess you're voluntold, as they say, to come volunteer with me and support that. I'm happy but disappointed. It's going to happen this year. It's not the full event that we normally get to do, but it is something that I'm hopeful we'll be able to support. In consulting with the team, we all agreed that it's not appropriate to make it mandatory. It is entirely optional. But I am trying to offer some strong incentives that hope people may come out and be a part of this. What we're doing, just to give you a little bit of information, and Nikki is running point on this with me. She's got detailed information. It's this Sunday morning, which is the 17th. For some folks, Monday is a holiday. For those of us who work in the court system, Monday is a holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. There's Ms. LaBeouf, she's a couple minutes late. So it's this Sunday morning. We're going to be breaking into 3 teams. There's one team that has the earliest duties, about 6:30 in the morning till about 9. They'll be down at the end of Gordon Drive, all the way south in downtown Naples, passing out water to runners. A second team will be at the finish line by Cambier Park, also passing out water to runners. And that'll be a little bit later start, I think 7:45 to about 10:30, that team. And then the third team gets to sleep a little later at 9:30 in the morning till approximately noon. You're the cleanup crew to help Gulf Coast runners break down tables, pick up cones, whatever needs to be done to take the race down. Normally this is over 2,000 runners. They're limiting it to 1,000. They're going to require everyone to be in a mask at all times. They'll provide masks as well as sanitary gloves if you don't have one, but if you have your own, you're welcome to wear it. But all of us will be in a mask the entire time. Runners will only remove their mask while they're running the course, and they'll get them right back on. Unlike most years, there's no gathering in the park afterward. There's no food, there's no music, there's no awards or celebration. Again, very good news in light of the pandemic. Definitely a little less of an experience for you guys, but they're gonna have the runners finish the race and go home. They will communicate awards to folks electronically. There won't be any gathering out of respect for the risk of the pandemic. The risk of the pandemic is why I am not making this mandatory. I'm making it optional. I wouldn't do it at all if I wasn't reasonably comfortable that Gulf Coast Runners was taking good measures to ensure the safety of all its volunteers and its runners. So we're looking for about 10 folks to work that water stop. First thing, you're between mile 3 and 4. So if you're runners, you know, you're pretty early in the 13-mile race. You'll see people still looking pretty good. Those of us who end up working at the finish line might see a different look at the close of 13.1 miles. At the finish line, I need about 6 people, and on the cleanup team, about 6 to 8 people. You will, all of you by now should have a drug court t-shirt. We're all going to be in our drug court t-shirts, myself included. That way the other Gulf Coast Runners board members and volunteers can identify us. They know, I see a blue shirt that says drug court, that person's reliable, that person's dependable. They will help me with whatever I need in this race. And so we're looking for, each team is around 2.5 to 3 hours of your time. You'll be busy. You won't be stuck in your head at all. You'll be part of a team, part of a group. DLC is going to help me. So we're all going to be, various team members will be at each of those stops, sometimes more than one of us. I'm going to try to be a part of all of it. And I am offering this incentive. I talked to the team earlier. I know those of you that were able to do polar plunge, I was able to offer a night off curfew and so forth. This is a big deal. This is important, and I really want to get a strong showing from drug court. Unlike the polar plunge, which is purely fun, this is some work. And Gulf Coast Runners through the years has been incredibly supportive of our program. This is one major way we try to give back to them and support them. So I want to show up for them, even though there are some difficult circumstances. What I'm offering for folks that come out is this. I'm going to offer up to 2 weeks advancement. So if you are, say, 4 weeks short of your next phasing opportunity, that's going to become 2 weeks. I'm going to take 2 weeks off of the clock or move you ahead 2 weeks, as long as you're in good standing. If you've got a sanction or something else going on that's complicating things, I'll have to work with the team to try to balance that out and be fair. But I was hopeful that 2 weeks on the calendar might be a nice incentive. I respect and appreciate some of you might be right at your phase point, and if so, what I'll end up doing is just put that at your next phase. Okay, again, I'll do my best to make sure that you get the full benefit of the incentive that we're trying to offer there. Let me see if I had anything else. Please speak with Nikki if you're interested. I have asked Nikki and Katie to also try to reach out to maybe some of our alum. All told, I'm trying to get about 20, 22 people. And so if you've got, I know 1 or 2 of you have alum as sponsors, feel free to invite them. This is not something that I have you bring significant others or children to. Not a great place for that, because I really need you rolled up sleeves and working and focused. But if you've got other drug court people in your orbit, feel free to pull them in, because they know the deal. The alum will have done this before and they know how it works. If you do volunteer, I need you to commit. Absent some really massive emergency, I've got to be able to rely on everybody who between now and the end of the work week tells Nikki, okay, I'm in, because this is a very complex and organized machine that puts on this race. We're going to be a part of it. If we say we got 10 people and only 3 show up, it's going to be really hard for those 3 people. So think about it, give it some consideration. If you're interested, if you're able to do it, I'll be very grateful. I'll certainly enjoy being able to be a part of it. I'll be out there with you guys. And like I said, I'll do my best based on whatever your circumstances are to fashion that incentive so that it appropriately thanks you for giving us some time on a Sunday morning. Does anybody have any questions? Did I leave out? I know Nikki's going to have specifics on exact time, on location and so forth. You would need to transport yourself there or carpool there. Normally we all load up on the sheriff's office bus together, but we won't be doing that. Unmute if you've got any questions or anything you wanted to clarify. Mrs. Semsky?
Yeah, I don't have a drug court t-shirt.
Okay. And Ms. Flaherty and Ms. LaBeouf. So I will ask you to get with Nikki. Nikki and Jason, I think, should have those. And if for some reason they don't, we were talking about it a few weeks ago. I think they've still got some on hand. So get with them and they can try to ensure that you get one and that it's, mine is enormous. I'll just warn you, it might not be a perfect fit, but they'll try to work with you to make sure that you've got a shirt. That is something I know with the pandemic, we're off our usual game. Normally we're doing this kind of thing 4 to 6 times a year, and we're out and about together, and you get a shirt as soon as you plead in and you're using it right away. But follow up with your case managers and be sure that you get yourself a shirt. Any other questions? Anything else I can clarify about the instructions? Okay. Well, please do relay any questions to Nikki. She can get a hold of me if she can't answer them. Like I said, I know some of you are connected with some of the folks that are in aftercare or are alumni. I'm happy to invite anyone from drug court, but I would say non-drug court people, this is not a great event to pull in friends and family and that sort of thing. We really need people who kind of know the drill and are ready to be on the line with us. Okay. All right. With that, let me start to check in with folks on the docket. Let me start with Ms. Robles. Ms. Robles, I've been trying to send you good thoughts for the last several days. How are you doing?
Hi, Judge. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing a little bit better. I'm starting. I don't know if it was like what it was, but I started to lose my voice a little bit. But overall, I'm starting to feel better. The kids should be retested Wednesday, so hopefully from there on, everybody can start going back to the normal life. But other than that, I've just been keeping in contact with my sponsor, Nikki, Jason. I'm still seeing James every 2 weeks.
Okay, so you've been able, this is the miracle of technology, even though you've been homebound, you've been able to keep pretty good contact up?
Absolutely, yeah. I spoke with both Jason and Nikki yesterday. I spoke with Nikki Friday, so I've been keeping pretty constant contact with everyone.
Good, good. Why do I care about that? Why am I excited to hear that you're having good contact?
I guess it's just like an isolation thing. I know we do tend, like addicts, we do tend to isolate and retract.
Yeah. Yeah, and you had 10 extra pounds of stress coming at you from every angle. You had isolation. You may or may not have been feeling perfect yourself. So yeah, that's a bad recipe for folks who are new in recovery. And by the way, we define that as fewer than 5 years of continuous sobriety. So everyone in drug court by definition is new, even if you might have a year or more. Really, that's a risky set of circumstances. So you handled that in a really smart way to try to protect what you're building here. How are you feeling about going forward from here for the next week? How do things look for you?
So I guess it's just on pause until I get the results back for the kiddos. I would really like to participate Saturday. But
Sunday.
It's Sunday.
It's a Sunday event for whatever reason, and I don't know why. Really long races like half marathons, Ironman, triathlons, those are Sunday events for some reason. I guess, I don't know, people who do these just must not work on Monday, but it took me a long time to remember. Almost everything else we do will be on a Saturday. This is a Sunday event.
Oh. Well, I was looking forward to it, but I don't know if I can. I can't say that I will be there and then, something happens if they come back, their tests are still come back positive. So,
Yeah.
Other than that, just hoping to get back to normal. Like I'm really ready to get back to work and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I would say this, Ms. Robles, you and Ms. Reeves, I know are deep enough into the program that pretty much any incentive I come up with it doesn't have quite as much impact as it does for the newer folks, Ms. Gonzalez too. But I would say this, you should probably play it safe Sunday and not come out. I think, especially if you're not feeling perfect. I know others on the team have gone through what you're describing with the voice thing recently, and it's probably nothing, but it's probably smart for you to just play things a little bit cautious for a little while longer until the kids both test clear and you're feeling 100% as well. I don't want you to push it. And of course, we're all trying to make sure nobody gets anybody else sick. I go through, I don't know if you guys do, I go through this mental exercise every couple of days where I go, oh, I don't care, I can handle it, I'm healthy, I'm strong. And then I remind myself, it isn't about me. It's about everybody around me that could be affected by my choices. So I keep trying to remind myself to stick close to home if I have any question at all. And that's probably a good call. But I appreciate, and I'm not the least bit surprised, because I am confident that if you were out there with us, and you'll have chances as an alum, by the way, we'll keep pulling you out there. I'm confident you would have a great time with us. So we'll make sure this isn't your only shot at being a part of this.
Thank you.
From a recovery standpoint, what's your sponsor got you working on at this point?
So I'm actually talking to my sponsor every day now. And I'm actually almost going to be completing my 4-step. So hopefully here I'll finish my 4-step and then we'll go over it. I probably won't start my 5th step until I meet with her in person.
Okay.
But yeah, just keeping in contact with her every day has been like the most important thing that she said when like I couldn't go out. That was like her one thing, is she wanted me to call her every day.
I think that's really smart, and obviously she's on the ball and thinking about things and recognizing you've just got a set of circumstances that require everybody to put more energy into things for a little while, and it sounds like you did a nice job with that.
Thank you.
And all of this is temporary, but stuff like this obviously is life. And so even long after you're finished with drug court and aftercare and all of those things, hopefully these skills, these routines that you're establishing will be right there to support you, whatever comes your way and whenever it happens to come into your life. That's what we're shooting for.
Thank you.
All right. Keep up the good work, Ms. Robles. I'm hoping that the tests and everything are clear, and hopefully you'll feel 100% here in no time as well.
Me too.
Let me switch gears and touch base with Ms. Reeves. Ms. Reeves, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Tell me what's been going on for you. What are you working on?
Just spending a lot of time at work, struggling with the red tide thing. That's working on the water is really, it's funny because like you get there and like within 30 minutes you just have that scratch in your throat. You can't stop coughing, and so it's awkward working around people because they think that you're sick, and then you have to be like, no, I don't have the COVID, I have the red tide.
Yep.
But it's been good. Work's been busy. Keeping in touch with my sponsor. I didn't see her this week, but we took a little kind of break over the holidays from doing too much work, but getting back into it now, and just keeping in touch with my select few that I keep close.
Okay. And remind me again which step you're working on with your sponsor?
I'm still on 4.
Okay. Part of the reason I was checking in on that is, ages ago, drug court used to actually say you got to finish step X in order to phase, and then you got to finish step Y in order to phase to the next one. We quit doing that, and in part out of respect for the pace that sponsors like to set sometimes, and respect for the fact that it's really your business to do that. I like it when possible if people can at least try to complete their 4th step while they're in this part of our program, while you're still with the really constant support from the team. Once you move on, you still have aftercare, and you always have access to the team. But 4 is intense. I don't have to tell you guys that. And plenty of folks will work all 12 steps before they move on. Everybody's kind of got their own pace. But it ends up sometimes being a useful goal to say, I'd like to really at least try to get through 4. 4 in particular, 8 and 9 as well, can really, done correctly, they can really dredge up some good material for the treatment team to try to help you with. And so when possible, I like to try to encourage people, see if you can kind of focus, those of you that are in the 4th phase, if you are in that position, see if you can make that a goal. If you can't, it's not going to change what I do with you. But it just can be helpful to have Brooke and James on speed dial when you're trying to be fearless, because again, done correctly, it may dredge up some stuff that's good for an individual or two. So just a suggestion. Ms. Reeves, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, it sounds like you're doing okay. It's funny, I've had the same thing with the red tide, and I actually canceled some plans because I said, you know, if there wasn't a pandemic, I would be confident that I'm perfectly fine. But I've stayed away from some folks just because, you know, like you said, a little scratchy, a little, I can't even call it a headache, but just a, yeah, so
right now.
yeah, I get it. We were calling it like pressure behind the eyes because it wasn't quite a headache. But yeah, I feel your pain on that.
Yeah.
And then you start getting paranoid. People around you get paranoid. It's just so it will be awfully nice. I know some of the folks on the team are getting access to the vaccine fairly soon. I'm really looking forward to all of us being able to be back around each other again. It's not too much longer now. Ms. Reeves, one thing I wanted to talk to you about, the team had some conversation today about where you are in the program, and you know, I know you've got some long range goals that you've wanted to be working on and so forth. I wanted to check in with you to find out what, if anything, is still on your to-do list with probation. I remember only vaguely that you had some community service as part of your sentence and that you had some restitution. Are you able to update me on your status with regard to the community service and the restitution?
My community service was 240 hours. I believe I've turned in 210.
Okay.
So, but I didn't turn in hours, I think, for December. I might have turned in hours for November, but I just ask her every once in a while to send me an updated sheet, and that's when I turn it in.
Okay.
So I should be done with the 240.
Okay.
And restitution, I've been paying, I usually pay every 2 or 3 months for those 2 or 3 months, because there's like a surcharge that they charge when you pay with JPay online or whatever. So I do it in bigger chunks.
Okay.
So, I'm up to date up to, I think, November. So I would owe 2 months right now.
Okay.
Which I could pay right now if that was.
Okay. Well, as a team, we talked about, and I think treatment for really advocating. They said, look, you know, we've been pushing Ms. Reeves. You've been doing a lot of work with them, and I know I've been pushing you from my angle to give them 110% and so forth. And so where we arrived as a team is that once we can confirm with probation that you are current, which may or may not mean that you've actually finished the community service or the restitution, but just that if you've been with us, say 13 months, that you've got 13 times the minimum. I think it was 10 per month on the community service minimum, and I don't remember the restitution, but probation would have that. As long as you're current, then as a team, we're ready to get you on a calendar with an exit interview that would then be followed with moving on. So I wanted to share that information. I imagine that is welcome information. I will confess I'm not in any hurry to move you on. I really want you to get everything that you possibly can out of this treatment team before you go into our aftercare phase. But treatment has made clear, you know, you've done everything that they've asked, you've done everything we've required. Everybody's timeline over this pandemic's been a little bit goofy. So I'm willing to put you on a calendar and work on that next step with you. But I just need to have probation confirm you're current. So get with them. It sounds like you may or may not have a little bit that you need to do to get current. And then if you'll encourage them to be sure to communicate to the team that, hey, Ms. Reeves is got the green light to be scheduled, then we would schedule an exit interview. Usually we do them 4 o'clock right after Tuesday court using the same court connection. And then we would schedule moving on if that goes smoothly for shortly after that.
Okay, yes, I'll get with Megan and I'll make sure I believe it's just a 2-month payment I'd owe and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, double check, make sure they've got all the paperwork and everything that they need. And then, like I said, please remind them to be sure to communicate that to us and we'll get you scheduled. We do not have to, depending on your schedule, we don't limit it to a week that you have court. I could, for example, do an exit interview next week as long as you're free, even though you wouldn't be on my 1:30 docket. So we can do it pretty much anytime once we've got that confirmation.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's really good news. Thank you.
I imagined you were probably ready for the sense of some forward movement. So anything that you wanted to clarify or any other thoughts on any of that?
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I'll get with Megan right away.
Okay, very good. And then she can let us know once, again, once you're current. If you've got it completed, even better, but all we would require would be that it's current to the month. And if you've still got ongoing payments, then you obviously would keep it current going forward.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good. All right. Well, Ms. Reeves, congratulations on getting close. I look forward to some more conversations very soon with you.
Thanks, Judge. Thank you.
And then Ms. Gonzalez rounds out our phase 4 group. Ms. Gonzalez, how are you doing this week?
Hi, Judge. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. What have you been working on?
So I've been I feel like I was just doing that Zoom thing, being home for a really long time, with the whole, my dad getting sick and me being sick. So this past week, I've been actually getting to more meetings. I've been doing women's meetings. Like I've done, I think 3 of them within the past week and a half or something. It's been really cool. I've gotten a lot of numbers. I've been contacting and I've been wanting to do that too, not so much just meetings, but for women to get to expand my network as far as with women go. Yeah. So that's been cool. I have a home group officially. I don't know if I did last time I spoke to you, but that's kind of new. I was a little reluctant to, with everything going on, but the Sunday night speaker meeting is my temporary home group. They asked me if I wanted to be a temporary member and I said yes. So it's been cool. I've been doing a little bit of service, passing out tickets and stuff like that. I like that meeting because they have a lot of opportunities for service and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Okay. And who's doing forgive my ignorance, who's doing the women's meetings?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. I went to one that was actually in someone's apartment complex and it was really cool. It was awesome. There was maybe 12 women there, so it was pretty big too. And I do this other one that's outside of the 24-hour club, and it's older women, and that one was good too. And then there's one that branched off. They have a bunch of them now, so I've just been trying out a bunch of different ones.
I'm trying to remember. I want to say there might even be some drug court alum that were spearheading a women's meeting at some point, but I don't know whether it's still current. I don't know for sure.
Probably.
Okay, good. Well, I think I was going to ask you a dumb question, which is, why is that important? But you already answered it really well. You've gotten some numbers. You've expanded your network and your supports. For the same reason that we have women only in court and women only in group, right? I mean, it is nice sometimes to just have a space set aside where everybody is, to some extent, reading off the same sheet of music, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's always kind of weird because women are usually kind of weird with other women, but when you hear these women speak in meetings and you realize how much we think alike, or we're going through the same things, it actually helps a lot. It's been cool.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I hear you. There definitely can be weird tensions, women with women, men with men, although it's usually because the opposite sex is in the picture, right? So if it's just your space and you're not worrying about managing your image for anybody else in the room, hopefully that sets a better atmosphere for everybody to be real, and be honest and be supportive. So it sounds like you tapped into some powerful stuff there.
Yeah, I'm hoping it is as powerful. I also finished my 4th step, so I'm officially on my 5th step now, which is really cool. I was just anxious to get on with it. And so my fifth step, I've actually kind of done a lot of it because my sponsor and I, we've just kind of been speaking throughout the fourth step.
Okay.
But I'm still gonna have a sit down with her and like, you know, tell her
Yeah.
other things. And I already ordered the book Drop the Rock. I received it, so that's part of my 6 and 7 is I'm gonna be reading that along with her and stuff. So that'll be interesting.
Okay. Excellent. I love it. I think when sponsors really help introduce you to a lot of that literature, that's another thing, you know, especially look, life throws you a curveball, you're stuck at home, but you've got something that you can really be working on there. It really ends up being an important piece of the puzzle. So I'm thrilled that she's introducing you to some of that stuff.
Yeah,
Excellent.
definitely.
So any problems, anything that we can be helping with?
No, I actually had a question, and this might be more for my probation officer, but truth be told, I don't really like get along with her all that well yet.
Okay.
So as far as like paying, I don't know if it'd be restitution or what, but like I know it's through JPay, but who would I even talk to about making those payments? I could probably reach out to one of the girls, but or like a counselor.
I'm not a great resource, unfortunately. I do not know the answer. So and I know we've got Megan is on the call. I'm not sure anybody else is. You may be working with one of the other officers, but I would imagine Megan or anybody could answer the question for you. It sounds like, to my knowledge, you got to figure it out one way or the other in order to get that off the to-do list. So definitely work on it. You know, my folks that are in phase 4, it sounds like Ms. Gonzalez, you must not have had a monthly minimum part of your sentence to pay restitution.
Not really. I haven't really had to, like, they're giving me a fee of like a large lump sum, and I have to have it paid within, you know, a week. So I can, you know, I'm sure there's a way.
Okay.
Obviously.
Well, look into it. It's again, depending on the amount. If it's $10,000, we typically don't require you to have it paid in full before you move on. But if it's a small enough amount that you should have been able to work it, you know, get it paid inside of a year, then it may be something that the team says, we'd like to see her get that paid before we schedule her for moving on. So all of you that I've been talking to in phase 4 here definitely want to be paying attention to, okay, what's still on my probation list that I could try to get finished off, because that will help us be in a position to schedule you on time for moving on when you become eligible to do that. I know it's, from where I sit, it's very, very soon. It may not feel soon to you guys, but it goes fast from here. So definitely be looking at those loose ends.
Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions or anything else we can help with?
I think that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Gonzalez, keep up the good work. I'm thrilled that you were able to get the 4th step finished. I think that's really important while you're with us. And keep asking for help if you need anything, okay?
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Okay, so that's everybody from phase 4. As you guys know, the phase 4 folks get to get called first and they get to drop off the call. So that will be you soon enough. Let me switch over to Ms. Sosemski.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Sosemski. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. Talk to me before we get into an update. Talk to me about the process you used on doing that essay for us.
A lot of Google search. You know, I would read over stuff and jot down notes and, you know, try not to plagiarize the best of my ability. You know, just kind of put things in my own words. It's been a really long time since I've written a research paper, but
yeah.
Biology, chemistry, and psychology were the things that I was focused on when I was in college. So like, it wasn't that hard. I busted out my old human biology book, so some of that stuff on kidneys was taken from there. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it I knew. I did get some good insight on dilutes and, you know, it was just a good refresher. Like when I first joined the program, they did give you like a sheet and stuff, and stuff to do, stuff not to do. And it's been harder now that we're not going in for group and stuff. I would always try to hold it. And then, the days that I had group, I would, give a sample, and then I'd have group. So I was there already. So it's just been, for some reason it was the day that I had a group, and it was the only day that I could do group that week as well as test. So it was like Sophie's choice that morning.
Okay.
So, things happen, and it wasn't intentional, but I did learn some things, and
Good.
it was kind of fun. I haven't gotten to write a paper in a while.
Well, you mentioned, you hinted at the answer. How far did you go in school?
I got about a year and a half done with college.
Okay.
So I have some credits there that I'm intending to go back and use. Okay. I started a family, and life happened.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to drop a class, and I failed a class. My daughter and I both got the swine flu. We both got swine flu, and I missed a final, and my professor wouldn't let me make up the test. I missed the final. So I ended up failing, and then I lost my scholarship thing, my grant. I have to pay back a grant to use my credits. So I'm at this point where, like, do I just start over, or do I pay back? I guess it's FSU. It used to be Edison. So
yeah.
It's like it was $500 or $1,000, and then I can transfer those credits somewhere. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. So
I understand. Well, part of the reason I asked the question, you did a nice job, and I could tell, it's, believe it or not, you can tell when you read things. I could read your enthusiasm. You really put some energy into, looking this stuff up and spelling it out and demonstrating that you learned something. And so I thought to myself, why isn't this young lady in school? But I appreciate the timing. May not be perfect yet, but I do hope that you keep that door open, because it definitely seems, especially if those are some of the topics that you loved, I know there's a lot of need for women in the science field or any of those fields, psych field too. So I hope you'll keep the door open, and I know it sounds like some tricky choices you'll have to make, but either way, you can keep it.
Some of my responsibilities with you guys step down, I can start really looking, because I qualify for Pell Grants and stuff still. Every year I see if I still do. Good. And when I'm ready, I want to go back. I miss it. I do.
I don't know for sure. I haven't looked at this, but I would bet if you're handy enough with Google, you might even be able to find grants or scholarships that are out there for persons who have successfully completed a drug court or done things along these lines. There is a lot more than 10 years ago. There's a lot of energy and enthusiasm out there, which sometimes means dollars, for people who are working to turn their lives around and do well. So it's worth a couple of Google searches. But I'd love to, again, when the time is right for you and your family, love to encourage you to keep that door open, because it looked like something that might be really enjoyable and obviously beneficial for you.
Thank you. It means a lot that you picked up on that just from reading my little essay.
I can tell, and I know I've talked to a few of you about some school goals and so forth, and I'm very, very supportive. I'm mindful that while you're in drug court, most of you are doing jobs that won't pay much, won't ultimately help you save much or get sort of up out of the financial grind. And I definitely want to, when we say we want to push you toward a better life, it's the whole picture, not just being clean and sober and out of trouble. So down the road, if we can help support that, we'd like to try, but I want to encourage you to keep it in your mind.
I will.
Tell me a little bit about what you're working on this week. What, from a recovery and or drug court standpoint, what's been your focus?
Actually, I finished my 5th step yesterday. I know I'd finished my 4th step and I just kind of kept adding to it because we had taken such a break in between the two. So I just kind of kept going back and revising. And much like Jenny said, I kind of did both of them together, because I would write some and then talk to her about it, and then write some and talk to her about it. But we really sat down last night, and I haven't seen my sponsor in a few weeks.
Right.
But we keep in constant contact on the phone. But we really sat down and went over everything together. And she, she's very blunt with me, and I need that. She's gentle when she needs to be, and gives it to me straight when I need it. So we're looking at starting step 6 here very soon. She's got me reading some. I read the DNA book pretty regularly, and I read my daily book. She wants me, because I'm usually off on Mondays. I'm trying to pick a Monday that's good for me to go to the Willows with a friend of mine and share my story there.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping next Monday that I can do that, make that commitment. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, I very, very strongly support and encourage that as well. I think that it's a strong move out of your comfort zone, right? To get up at a meeting and share like that, but it's really powerful. It's really generous. You can help a lot of people, and I think that in my experience, the better you all become. I don't mean from a public speaking high school standpoint. I just mean the better you become at committing and following through to frequently sharing, the better overall you tend to do. It is being able to share your story is something that the folks with long-term sobriety have figured out how to do, and they've continually pushed themselves to do it. I had the pleasure on Saturday morning of going out and working with with Susan Conklin. I know some of you, one or more of you works with Susan. She shared her story to a leadership group that we were addressing. And I know she's done it probably 1,000 times. I respect and appreciate it's nerve-wracking every single time. But what an unbelievable gift. And I was able to stand with her as some folks were giving her feedback. And it's just really, really, really cool. So I encourage you. I'm glad you took on the commitment, push through the nerves. Nobody's grading you. Nobody's judging you, believe it or not. And stick with it. Keep doing it, because it's really a tremendous act of service and a great way to support your own efforts.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes. Between that and then I'm thinking of moving my day off to, I think it's Tuesdays. They bring meetings into either Crossroads or the detox at DLC. I've got to double check with a friend of mine, but he's been doing that and he really wants me to do that. So like alternating days at work, because I really miss service, and I was really doing a lot before the pandemic, and I just haven't been to in-person meetings. So I think it's time to really just, I've been using it as an excuse and keeping people at arm's length. And it's time for me to really like put myself out there again and make some connections. Like I can't just rely on my sponsor,
Yeah.
So, and other than that, James did put it on my radar already about the marathon this weekend, the half marathon.
Yep.
And
Sunday morning.
told him, I gave him the thumbs up. I guess I'm taking the super early shift. I don't know if I'm crazy or what, because I work a double the day before. But
You'll be first in, first out. So
I will be there. I'll be
good,
first
good.
out, and then I can go home and sleep. So
Get with Nikki, make sure you get a shirt and that you have all the details on where, when, and how. And I'll see you out there. That's great.
all right.
There was one thing that you mentioned that I wanted to follow up on. Oh, just with regard to the service, you know, because you've been here long enough to hear me push it and support it. Service work is, again, another thing. The folks that have done well in drug court and for many years after have been the folks that plugged in with service work and stuck with it even when they didn't have to. I do, you know, I'm going to encourage you though, even though you've said, well, with the pandemic, I got away from it. If you go back in, fine, but do be smart, be safe, wear the mask, keep your distance. You know, getting sick and just the process of having to miss 2, 3 or more weeks of work is a big enough motivator. Stay safe, stay healthy.
No, and my sister's starting her last phase of chemo, which is the really heavy duty stuff, and it's going to knock her immune system out again. So I'm really, really being super cautious about anything that I do. I'm ordering groceries at this point. Other than work, I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Okay, well, good. And yeah, I had forgotten that you've got high risk person under the roof with you. So you're keyed into this. I just encourage all of you because again, we're invested in your well-being head to toe, not just living drug free, but trying to be completely healthy. And if you can possibly avoid this stuff, you want to take all reasonable steps to do that. So keep being smart and cautious about it. And it sounds like all good stuff, Mrs. Semsky. That's great. And it sounds like I'll see you Sunday morning. Get with Nikki so she's got you signed up, okay?
I will. Can I be excused for just a minute?
Sure.
Please.
You're gonna come back on?
I'm gonna come right back, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, let me touch base with Ms. Flaherty next.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Ms. Flaherty. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good this week. I had got my 8 months on, I think it was Saturday, the 8th. So that's good. Work is fine. Home life is a little stressful coming back from the break. My daughter last week had a bunch of missing assignments that I didn't know. So we spent last week doing a lot of homework on my days off, but hopefully we pulled it out of the woods. And then this week she's testing. So trying to get her to bed early, you know, has made, like, I've been trying to leave work early if I can and help her get to bed early. So that's just a money cut on my end, but that's more important. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I am this week. I have also not met with my sponsor last week because, well, the week before was the holidays, and then last week because of my daughter's schoolwork. But we're meeting on Thursday, so I'm excited to reconnect. Well, we talk every day, but there's that. And
what's she got you doing?
She has me just reading the NA book and reflecting on it, what I found significant, and then how it applies to me. So that's my assignment for this week. And I hear you guys talk about the steps and everything. Well, James is calling me. I don't think he knows I'm in court. So she doesn't. Yeah, I think I said this before, want me to really start the steps while I'm on MAT. So I do want to, so hopefully I can, finagle her to change her mind on that. But other than that, I as well would like to do the race. I do work that night. It won't be as bad as New Year's. But I would like to participate. So I will, I'll figure out, reach out to Nikki.
Great.
And that's really all I have going on right now.
Okay.
Toothache, I get to the dentist. There's really nothing to report.
Brooke, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, I think that's why James is calling you. He didn't realize you had court and wants to know if you want to do the race with us.
Yes,
So Nikki and I are both getting everyone together for it. So just hit me up, Crystal, when you're out of court, and we'll arrange that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, great. And I was going to say, for those of you who have a late obligation the night before, then it may make sense for you to do the later team. And for those who can handle the early start, it may make sense for you to do that. I know some folks might have church later in the morning, so you might want to do the early one. But hopefully with the 3 different options, everybody can find a good fit. I wanted to say too, Ms. Flaherty, I think this is the first time I've gotten to talk to you since Polar Plunge, but I was thrilled to be able to meet all 3 generations.
Yes.
That was great that you got your mom and your daughter to come out there first thing on New Year's Day. Way to go.
I know. It was, I was really tired, and I'm glad my mom went, because I don't think I got home. We didn't even get done till like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I was going on like an hour of sleep. So I was glad my mom had driven me, but it was really nice. Me and my mom, like, I just grabbed her hand and we ran in together, and she was like, she got really like, teary-eyed and was like, I'm so proud of you. So I was really glad that I did it. And then my daughter didn't go in, but she did support me, from a distance. So that's nice. And so yeah. So
that's very cool. Very cool. It meant a lot. It spoke volumes that you all made time to come out there and be together. And you can see now what I was talking about. It might be kind of silly. It's 80 degrees out doing a polar plunge, but there's something to the symbol, right? Of kind of going in and doing something as a group, and just kind of that little ritual to bring in the new year and celebrate a fresh start. It's kind of powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely. I was saying it was washed me of my sins and then started fresh. So, but yeah, so I'm definitely glad that I did that. That's why I want to continue to participate in these events, even if I'm a little tired. I was just really glad that I did it. So yeah, I'm a little bummed out that we lost, somebody, Rebecca, but, because it's the first person I think I've seen. Well, no, Heather, but maybe somebody that was extra close with me. So that's just something that, I had struggled with this week, but she'll be okay. And I'm excited for her to get the Crossroad experience. So I won't talk about her too much in my thing, but yeah. And then I do have, I had a transition where Kathy Owens told me she's leaving. So I feel like I have a lot of transitions coming on or coming up.
Okay.
So, but it's okay. I feel strong, and yeah, everything's been really good. So,
it's interesting, and I apologize. I know everybody by their last name, and the rest of the team knows all of you by your first name. So I was trying to figure out who you were talking about, and then I figured out by the end who you were talking about. And over the years, I've come to really respect and appreciate how one person's struggles really impacts the rest of you in the group. But I share your sense, Ms. Flaherty, that I'm glad she's safe. I'm glad that she has access to really, really phenomenal treatment and care. But how does that affect you when you hear about somebody that you've been working with who struggles like that? How do you process that?
Well, for me, I knew when I saw her on the polar plunge that she was high, and my mom even knew it, and my daughter didn't pay attention, but I didn't know how to deal with it. So I just turned to my mom and I'm like, oh my God. And my mom took the words out of my mouth and she said, she's high. And I got in the car and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I'm making every excuse in the book. Well, maybe she, whatever, maybe I'm looking at my eyes in the mirror and I'm like, look at my eyes, like, maybe it's from the water, and my mom's like, yeah, and like, no, I don't think so, Crystal. And we don't see each other that much, but I knew in my gut. So I had just dealt with it. I dealt with my sponsor, and I didn't want to deny her the opportunity, to come clean for herself. I did talk about it in group, and, we decided to going forward that I should have maybe reached out to a clinician because safety is an issue, obviously. And I just didn't know what to do, but now I know. And so that was hard for me because I felt like I had this secret, and I was worried, but I wasn't sure. And God, I mean, it must be what my mom, feels like 100 million times, seeing me, trying to make yourself believe that might not be it. But I knew that was it. And
yeah,
as soon as I knew that the group, like something had happened that day, I knew it. And so I'm glad that she was able to come clean. I'm really excited for her, like I said, to go to Crossroads because I've been there twice and she's going to learn a lot. And I think that it will be a good thing for her,
Yeah.
But so it was just hard for me because, like I said, I did know, and so that was my struggle. But I mean, me and her had the same sobriety date, so I have a connection with all the women, but it was just sad, It makes me nervous too, because she was so, doing so great. So it's just, and then there's also that, bad thing that I would say out loud is I'm just glad it wasn't me too, So, so it ended up working out okay, and I know how to deal with it in the future if that ever happens. But so it was just a little hard to see.
Well, I can appreciate that. That's really jarring, and I actually didn't have a whole lot of contact with her. She was one of the ones I didn't really get to talk to, but it's probably just as well. Yeah. But I can appreciate how that impacts you guys, and I think that I'm hopeful. I'm always looking for the silver linings and the positives that we can pull away. And you had an opportunity there to get a glimpse of, when you're clean and sober, how does somebody who's up to what you used to do look? And that can be a powerful kind of a mirror, right? To say, this just kind of makes a point for me.
Oh my God, you're not fooling anyone. And my mom kept saying, would she come here? I go, oh yeah. Because what if she didn't come here, and then that would be even more of a red flag. This is what we do. I've gone into probation, in the past. So yeah. But it goes to show, you can totally tell when you know somebody, when you see somebody, and they're off, it's in their eyes, it's in their movements, it's in everything, so you really aren't fooling anyone.
But that she was probably not at all aware of the fact that people could tell. And that's where you say, now I never thought anybody could tell, but now I see her and I know differently.
Oh yeah.
It's really, you can pull a lesson out of that one. But like I said, I'm just grateful for the team and the efforts that they made to offer her support and so forth, which thankfully she took appropriate advantage of. So all is well. And I like knowing that you all, are pulling for each other. This is not something anybody does alone.
Yeah.
So good. Is there anything else, Ms. Flaherty, anything that we can be doing to help?
Nope. I'm pretty good. I just, I met with Brooke this morning, so I definitely need to in school, I know that for me to go to nursing school, the deadline is August or something, but I could still totally be lining up because there's days like we talked about today at work where I'm like, oh my God, I can't, I don't want to do this. This is just not healthy atmosphere. It's great for now. It's great with drug court. I can make money. And they work around my schedule, but this is not something I want to do forever. So that's it. That's something I got to work on myself. So no, everything's been good. The team's been great. And I'm excited to be a part of this.
Good. Well, in August is really a great time because, as you just said, I can be chipping away at this so I don't get jammed up and have to cram it through, in late July. But just to be working on it, just to be laying the groundwork, similar to what I was just discussing with Ms. Sisemski. I love it. I don't expect it to be a short range plan, but I love if at least a medium term goal or a longer term goal is, I want to be paving my pathway to, a better life overall. Being clean and sober is really just the beginning of all of that. But I love, when you guys start to invest in yourselves and your future, you start to really internalize everything that you've been working on here. Well, yes, I want to be clean and sober and get through drug court, but there's so much more to it. Let's start looking at what you have to have for August and what you can be doing to chip away at it. I think that's great. It also just kind of helps keep your focus, right? You've got goals, you've got things you're working toward, and when life throws some curveballs at you, goals help you keep your focus. That's great.
Yes.
Wonderful. Ms. Flaherty, keep it up. You're doing great.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. LaBeouf, let me check in with you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. LaBeouf. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I logged you in just a couple minutes after we started. What was going on?
I was getting my laptop situated and I guess I didn't plug it in last night, so when I turned it on, it just kept blinking the screen.
Ah, a very expensive paperweight.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, you definitely want to, start getting that stuff situated maybe 10 minutes out so that you don't have any curveballs that make you late for court. I'll leave it at that for today, but I definitely want to make sure that that's not something either with court or with treatment that's happening again. Okay. Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So tell me what else is going on. What have you been working on?
This week, well, this past week, it's just been really stressful. This week also, I have to, sorry.
It's okay. Take a second. Ms. LaBeouf, whatever it is, have you talked to treatment about it?
Yeah, Nikki knows.
Okay. I don't necessarily need to torture you or have you share things in court unless you want to. I'm happy to listen to anything you want to tell me. But anytime I see someone get emotional, I just want to make sure you have talked to treatment on whatever it is.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. All right. Is treatment able to help you in some way with whatever you need?
Between treatment and DCF, they're able to. It's
Okay.
just a matter of trying to get me like into a shelter or into somewhere that I can get my kids back at.
Okay.
Because where I'm living now, like, they're not allowed here.
Okay. And right now you've got visitation with them, but your goal out a little bit is to be able to actually have them stay with you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so do you have any idea when the dependency court might be willing to do that if you have the right housing?
It's within the next few months.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not tomorrow, but it is something that sounds like we need.
In order for me to get unsupervised and overnights, I have to have somewhere.
Okay. That makes sense. So I appreciate case management. We'll try to brainstorm with you a little bit and see, what they can come up with. Refresh my memory. Did you have public defender's office or did you have a private attorney?
Public defender.
Okay.
For DCF, it's Beverly Brennan.
Okay. All right. The reason I was asking about the public defender is Janice Toledo, the social worker with the public defender. I know she and the case managers often can brainstorm together and try to help come up with some ideas, places that might be a good fit for you for what you're looking for. So yeah, definitely. And you've got Beverly Brennan. I know her from way back. And I would think that you've got folks now in multiple points of your life who can all maybe help put their heads together and work on a solution for you. All right, so that's a little bit stressful with housing. What else is going on? What are you working on from a recovery standpoint?
I am still going through the doctor's opinion with my lawyer, with my sponsor.
Okay.
We meet every Monday. We go to our home group together.
Okay.
We have lunch. We go over like how I feel about what I've been reading in the doctor's opinion. My brain is still like, it's hard to grasp stuff the first time I read it, so I have to reread it like 30 times.
Okay.
So hopefully soon we'll be moving to step one. Step one.
Okay.
And then so on and so on. We keep in contact every day. Actually just went with my sponsor yesterday and helped her pick out her wedding dress, so that was fun.
Okay, good. With regard to reading stuff, is that anything that was going on for you before, like back when you were in school?
No.
Okay, so that's more
I was honors English, honors biology. It's newer.
Okay. So this is something that's more recent, just since you've gotten clean and tried to kind of get back to these things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and so one thing that I will suggest, and we've had some other folks too, so the case managers may have ideas that I won't even think of, but maybe when you're reading the doctor's opinion, you've got a little scratch pad and you make a couple of notes, or if it's your copy of the big
I've
book.
been highlighting.
Good. Yeah.
Almost everything's highlighted.
Yeah. There's actually some really cool science to how people learn, and I had the privilege of getting a class on it. And some of us can learn by reading, some of us really need to hear it, and others of us need to actually touch it, handle it, work with it in order to get it into our brain. So that's where the pen comes in. Yeah. So switch it up a little bit, whatever might help you with that, because it's good information. And one thing about the doctor's opinion, every time you do read it, you will get something different. So that's true too. But be patient with yourself and think about using some little techniques to just help it get into your brain. I have decided my ear is probably in my left hand because I really don't hear things unless I write them down. But if I write it down, it's in there forever. So, you'll figure out what works best for you. But be patient with yourself. Some of it might just be just the general healing and cleaning out that comes from, being new in recovery. That's normal. Is there anything that we can be doing? Anything that you have been needing from us that you haven't gotten?
No, maybe a t-shirt.
Okay. Yep, reach out to Nikki on that, and do continue to stay in close communication with the housing issue, and hopefully, we can figure out a good solution on that for you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll wrap it a few minutes early here. I see the guys are already in our little Zoom waiting room, so I'll let you guys get going. Really proud. It sounds like it's been some challenges, but some really, really good work this week. Hang in there. If you can join us Sunday, I'll look forward to seeing you then. And if not, no worries. Have a good week, guys. We'll be in recess until 2:45. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. Let me just make a quick note. Okay. All right, I wanted to start today with an announcement with regard to the half marathon. I know I've mentioned this in the past, and I think I spoke with some of you at the Polar Plunge about this. The time is upon us. The half marathon is this Sunday, the 17th. For whatever reason, I've never known why, but really long races are on Sundays. So the other stuff, the 5K races, those are on Saturdays, but I don't know if they just figure you need another day to gear up. I would need another day to recover myself. So I don't know how these people finish this and go back to work Monday. But anyway, Sunday is the big day. I wanted to share a little bit of information and try to encourage as many of you as can to volunteer and join us. Typically, I make this a mandatory drug court event for all participants, but given the pandemic, the team and I agreed that that would not be appropriate. We would make this a purely optional event for you. So I want to be very clear, you are not required to do this. But if you are interested and wish to volunteer, I am as comfortable as I can be that everyone is going to be safe. Masks are required for us at all times. And if you're handling water for the runners, we're going to have gloves too. Gulf Coast runners will provide masks and gloves, but if you have your own mask, feel free to bring it as long as it's not one of these that constantly falls down. The runners are going to have masks the entire time, except when they're actually running the course. They're trying to make sure everybody is safe. Normally it's like 2,200 people running 13 miles for no reason and paying for the privilege to do it. I never have understood this, but they are capping it at 1,000 runners this year. They're gonna do what's called a wave start. They'll do groups at a time. They've got a little timing chip on their shoelaces, so the clock doesn't start till they cross the start line. And so they're going to do, I think, 100 at a time. The fastest runners get to start first, and they'll work their way back to the slowest runners in order to try to provide social distancing and keep people reasonably safe. They've asked us to cover 3 different duties, so we'll break into 3 different teams. I'm going to try to be a part of kind of all of that. But we've got one team that's going to be down at the end of Gordon Drive, if you know where that is, really all the way south in downtown Naples. We'll have a water table down there. About 10 of you would staff that. I think James has given me the thumbs up. He's going to be the team member that's dedicated to that. I will also be down there part of the time as well. But we're looking for about 10 of you to work the water stop. And I've got extensive instructions for Nikki. Please let Nikki know if you're interested and let her know which group you can staff. She's going to run point for me on making sure that you have your instructions, that you have a drug court t-shirt if you don't already have one of those. Everybody should have a blue shirt that says Drug Court Works. Those of you at the Polar Plunge saw some of us with those. So you'll wear that shirt. The Gulf Coast runners folks know what that shirt means. They've been with us for years and years, even though you're new. They know the blue shirt means that person is reliable, dependable, polite, helpful, and I can ask them to do whatever I need to help make sure this race is a success. So the blue shirts are a powerful symbol for us. I wear mine with a lot of pride. So a water stop at the end of Gordon Drive is one group of about 10. The finish line, also passing out water, that's another group of about 6. The water stop is going to be about 6:30 a.m. to about 9 a.m. You're the earliest group, but you'll also finish first. The finish line is going to run about 7:45 a.m. and go till about 10:30. Likewise, we're just passing out water. Those of you who've ever seen this before, normally it's big party afterward. There's a huge gathering in Cambier Park. There's music. There's food, there's a beer tent, which is not relevant to any of us, but there's all kinds of vendors and gathering, there's awards and so forth. They're not doing any of that because of COVID. So the runners are gonna line up, take their mask off, start their race, and when they finish it, they'll throw their mask on and head home. The awards are all gonna be communicated after the fact. The communication will be electronic. So the finish line, they're actually going to get their medal before they start the race, which is kind of funny. They get their medal when they pick up their race packet. We usually hand out medals and so forth at the finish line, but this time we'll just be handing out water. And then third team, which is going to run from about 9:30 in the morning to noon at Cambier Park. So finish line and after a team are both Cambier. The early team is down at the end of Gordon Drive. The sweeper team, as I call it, is going to go 9:30 to about noon. You might finish ahead of that, but you're going to do whatever Gulf Coast Runners needs. Break down tables, load up, the water that's left over, load up the cones that mark the course, whatever they need to get that race and the race area all picked up. That's about 6 to 8 people. So given those of us from the team, we need 20 plus or minus a couple folks to volunteer to come help us. I know some of you are friends with or perhaps sponsored by drug court alumni, or you may be buddies with folks who are in aftercare. Mr. Moreno, I know, knows one well. If you've got drug court alums who are contacts, feel free to invite them to join us. But this is not, unlike the polar plunge, this is not something where I would have you bring a significant other or your kiddos or roommates or any of that. This is really drug court only. So if you got an alum, rope them in if you want, but that's about it. It's really just about drug court for this one, which makes this different from the polar plunge. But we're looking for hopefully about 20 people. And I have talked to the team because I really wanted to offer an incentive. And I know full well some of you would do this whether or not there's an incentive. But I also want to recognize you're in an intensive program. I'm asking you to do something that's purely optional. And I want to give a meaningful incentive for that if you're able to get away from your normal obligations to give us 2-3 hours of your time on a Sunday morning. What I talked about with the team, and I think for everyone here, I don't think I have any phase 4 in this group today. So for everyone here, this is a decent incentive. Talking about taking 2 weeks off of your next milestone with your phase. Now, if you're close to phasing, then I'll take the 2 weeks off your next phase. So, but I'm talking about advancing you in the drug court progress, a total of 2 full weeks for coming out and giving us a few hours of your time. So I hope you agree that's a pretty good incentive. I know I did a night off curfew for the polar plunge, but that was about coming out and just playing. This is work. You'll be busy. You will not get stuck in your head for the 3 hours that we have you out here with this group, but you're going to be a part of a community effort. This is an effort that raises money for various community funds, especially some youth scholarships and things like that. So you're a part of something really cool. And while you guys may not be familiar with Gulf Coast Runners, they know drug court. They've been working with us for over a decade, and they love, you saw it at the polar plunge, some of it, they love drug court. They love having us join their team and put on the race. So I will be extremely proud to put on the blue shirt and get out there with you guys. We're all going to be careful. We're all going to have our masks on. Those of you managing water will have gloves on. We're going to do our part to make sure everybody is safe and healthy, but we'll have some fun. I got a lot of good feedback after the polar plunge. Hey, we want to get out of the courtroom, virtual courtroom. We want to get out and about and be a part of some things together. So here you go with an opportunity. Generally speaking, you'll be busy, but I think everybody in our group can do it. There's nothing that's going to be unusual with this one. Mostly you're going to be passing out water or picking up trash. Those are the 2 biggest duties that we have. And we will leave everything better than we found it. We have a great reputation for that. So I think that's my spiel on half marathon. Does anybody have any questions? Did I forget to mention anything? One thing is just transportation. Normally we all travel together in a CCSO bus. Normally we gather at the courthouse at 5:30 in the morning for that privilege of getting on the sheriff's bus. So I'm sparing all of us that experience. But you would need to get yourself there. And again, Nikki's got the precise times and locations, but you need to be there and be on time. The other thing, if you do volunteer, I need you to commit. If you say to Nikki this week, yeah, I'll be there, and then you wash out, you're going to leave your other team members short. And that's not a lot of fun. We will be busy. There will be 1,000 very thirsty runners who are depending on us to help make sure that this is a smooth, safe, and well-supported race for them. This race, again, will be a little different this year, but this is a race that is internationally known. There will be people who fly in from out of the country to run this race in Naples, Florida. It still kind of blows my mind. On Olympic years, this race is a qualifier to qualify for the Olympic team. It's one of the things that the team officials consider. So it's a big deal. It will be different this year, but it will be no less exciting, no less important to the people who have put in the time to train for this thing and be a part of it. So if you're interested, please get with Nikki right away. The sooner I can get a reliable head count, the better. And again, you're looking at about 3 hours on Sunday morning for any one of those teams. And I'm telling you, and I don't think I said this specifically, I'm going to give you up to 2 weeks off of your timeline with us with your phasing, but you got to be in good standing. If you snag a sanction or complicate things, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to figure out how to reward you. But for those of you who are in good standing, it'll be very simple. If you're close to phasing, I'll take the 2 weeks off your next phase. But if you're not that close to phasing, you will be once you finish Sunday, right? You'll move yourself up on the calendar 2 whole weeks. So I'm hopeful that ends up being interesting. Like I said, I know some of you probably do it anyway. All right, with that, let me turn to the docket. And speaking of incentives, Mr. O'Brien, I'm going to call you first today.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay. You're not even in trouble, Mr. O'Brien, but you were you were one of the few folks that was not in phase 1 or 2 that was at the polar plunge. So I worked with the team, put our heads together to say, well, he doesn't need a night off curfew. He doesn't have a curfew.
Right.
We decided we'll call him first and we'll let you drop off the call after we speak. So that'll be the little thank you that we offer for your great enthusiasm on New Year's Day. How'd you enjoy that event?
That was definitely a different experience for me. I think I said it a couple times when I was there. Like, I would never catch myself jumping into water, even that cold. Like, I know it's not an actual polar plunge, but I wouldn't do something like that unless I was on drugs.
It was pretty cold, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually very cold to me. I'm a Naples native, so
me too.
Born and raised here, so that's 70 degrees, 68 degree water. That's kind of freezing to me.
I had a couple of short breaths initially myself. I wasn't breathing real well there until I settled down.
Yeah, no, I had a great time. It was good seeing everybody there. I brought my brother out there. He's always you get a couple good laughs out of him, and you know what I mean. So everybody there gathered. It was a good time. It was a good time. I enjoyed it.
Great. Yeah, I'm excited. There will be things, not that you're going to be with us for a whole other year. I hope you're not, for your sake, but there are things throughout a normal drug court year where we can absolutely have people include their family members and then there are others where it's drug court only. Sunday will be drug court only, but I'll be sure. And I know, Mr. O'Brien, even after you move on, I'm hopeful that you'll make time to be out with us. And the one I missed this year, and I shouldn't have, but I did, I missed the Thanksgiving run. That is the most fun run to bring your family to. It's a short one. I think it was Mr. Mattingly was saying he wants to get back into running. That one's a 5K. People are in costumes, dressed up like turkeys. That's probably one of my favorite things the whole year long. So we'll have some more stuff your family can come to.
Yeah, I've went to one of the races before, and I was handing out water at the finish line, and that was a good time as well. I handed out water and I handed out medals, kind of at the same time.
That was the half marathon. I think you were brand new with us, right?
Yep,
I think,
yeah. So I did speak to James about it. I'm more than welcome to volunteer. I'll be there.
Great.
What did you say? The early time? That's not the finish line, correct?
Yeah, the finish time, early time is 6:30 to about 9. Finish line 7:45 to about 10:30. If you're flexible on time, then we may ask Nikki to put people wherever she needs people.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're not flexible on time, let her know, and she'll try to slot you in the time that fits best.
Last time I did it, I was at the finish line, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too.
You get to see, the after effect of everybody running that. Some of them ain't always pretty, but
No.
no.
You see some raw humanity, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm noting somebody looked up the weather, and I think the weather is supposed to be like 46 degrees.
Oh,
and
wow.
as painful as that is, you just add another layer of clothing. But here's why I'm grateful. When it's warmer than that, people, let's just say they get a little nauseous when they finish the race. So cold weather reduces nausea. So I say bring on the cold.
One thing I do have to say, though, is like you said, it was back when I first started, when I did that race, and when I got my drug court t-shirt, I've put on a couple pounds since then. I'm not wearing that same shirt no more.
Well, talk to Nikki. It may be that actually, I'm not kidding, we may take your other one back.
Okay.
If we've got one that we can swap out for you, because I'm sure we can use, we'll have it maybe even for one of the ladies who may need one of the smaller ones. So
okay.
Bring it back, because they may be in short supply, but we'll try to see if we can get you outfitted.
That sounds good.
Tell me what you've been working on this week.
No. Like I spoke to the James and Brooke at the beginning of the week, or last week rather. I'm trying to stay consistent. There's always been like that little, I'll do good for so long, and then I'll have a little hiccup, and then I'll do so good for so long, and then I'll have another little hiccup. So I was trying to explain to them, like, there's many more opportunities that I could have had a lot more hiccups, but I dwindled it down, and I'm making progress. I know that for sure.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to stay on a consistent basis.
Good. That's been the theme of some of our conversations, right? I mean, this is, it is progress, not perfection, and you've made good progress. But when you get deep into the program, I've been pushing you hard for that consistency, because I know you can do it. And that's really the bottom line.
And I know I can do it as well.
Good. Treatment was very complimentary. They said that you've been working hard. You stepped up to the challenge.
Yes. I don't plan on taking steps backwards. So, that's all I can say. I'm going to keep pushing, and, ain't nothing going to slow me down. Like I said, from when the little hiccup happened, it's only going to make me try that much harder.
Yeah. And really part of the recipe there is keeping good people around you. And just not letting yourself be distracted by things that aren't ultimately good for your recovery.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. I like it. Anything that we can do, Mr. O'Brien? Anything you need from us?
No, actually, I've been in good contact with, the ladies at the office. Helped me out with a lot of things. James, if I have a question, I can reach out to him, and he's very good, of getting me some kind of answer or point me the direction I need to go. Everybody's been very helpful, very helpful.
Good. We'll keep using that. One of the things I worry about the most is when people get into phases 3 and 4, they loosen their grip on the team, and really that good constant contact is more important, not less, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I tell them. I was telling them, when I start getting close to the end, and when I'm, actually on the verge of graduating, it's kind of going to suck, because I know I haven't learned everything that I need to learn. You know what I mean? I know there's still so much. I've learned a lot, but I know there's still so much more. You know what I mean? And the price of this program, doing it on the outside, isn't cheap. You know what I mean?
You're right. But
I'm trying to take full advantage of all of this.
Yeah, I think you've got your head in the right place, and just make the full effort. Treatment's not going to lock you out when you move on. They'll be working with you. So just keep that good, steady, focused progress. Keep that open mind. Don't do anything silly. Every now and then somebody gets close to the end, and what you just articulated, and I know you weren't saying this, but they actually, panic and make some kind of crazy mistake so that they don't have to move on. I don't think you'll do that, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Not if it's like a conscious decision. Absolutely not.
No, it really, it's I think there's some value in just reassuring everybody that as you move on, your access to treatment remains consistent. So keep putting the work in. You're gonna make progress with me, but putting the work in with treatment is really separate. And as long as I know you're in good standing with them now, and they've been saying good things about your effort. So keep that consistent. As you said, you're going to progress through the program very well. And more importantly, you're going to build the foundation that you need to keep this up after the program. That's the goal.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, Mr. O'Brien, it's a pleasure touching base with you. You've earned the privilege of dropping off the call early today. So keep up the good work. And if you can join Sunday, I'll see you then.
I'll be there.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. Let me check in next with Mr. King.
Hey, Your Honor, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Mr. King. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm kind of different to coming in at the beginning of the pack instead of the end of the show.
I try to mix it up as best I can. So, yeah, there's usually no rhyme or reason.
No, I'm used to it by now. You know, it's no big deal. I like sticking around to see what's going on. I got to be here anyways.
That's right. Yeah, everybody except phase 4 stays in the whole time regardless. What have you been working on?
Just been working on myself, you know. Trying to get, now that I got health insurance, I'm not sure if it's kicked in yet or not, but I'm trying to get caught up so I'm not behind over at DLC anymore. Anytime I got some little extra cash, I'm throwing it their way. I think I paid them $100 this week. Just, you know, this weekend I actually took a step back for myself and just took a minute to think about what's going on, because there were some little things that were starting to rub me the wrong way that I didn't like. And, you know, it just showed me that there was something I was missing. And so I took that little second to sit back and just get myself back on track. I spoke with James about it prior to this. I even brought it up during group, and we were able to square everything away. And, you know, I'm feeling a lot better now, you know.
Okay.
Everything's going great. I got court tomorrow. So we finally, so we're going to finalize everything with my son, with the reunification. I did speak to James about the half marathon. I will be there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with bells on.
Okay.
I do not have a blue shirt though. When I went to the Polar Plunge, they gave us the long sleeve ones.
Right. Yeah, that's just a Polar Plunge shirt. So get with Nikki, and I'm hopeful that she's got a supply of shirts for folks.
Most definitely.
Okay. You know, it's funny what you were mentioning there. You had you'd mentioned MRT a little while ago, a few weeks back, and what you just described there, where, you know, I was noticing some agitation and I took a step back. I took a little inventory. I spoke up about it. I'm not an MRT expert, but it sounds like you might have been applying some of the tools that you're getting there.
Oh, most definitely. It's actually one of my favorite groups is the MRT group.
Awesome.
We have a good time in that group. It's not just reading from a book, you know. It's a lot of group interaction, and I really enjoy that. You know, it goes a long way for me. It benefits me more than just reading out of a book, you know.
Okay.
And since I've been doing my one-on-ones with James and the MRT group, I think me and James have a much better connection now than we did when I first started drug court. Just everything's going great, you know. Like I said, I had that little hiccup. I haven't been to court in a couple of weeks, but I had that little hiccup, and I realized that something so small and something so minute was bothering me, and I shouldn't have let it get to me the way it did, you know. So I spoke to James about it, and then over the weekend, like I said, I just took some me time. When my girlfriend and son went to sleep, I just sat there and ran through my mind on, like, why is this bothering me? And I couldn't come up with any real rhyme or reason why. And you know, I took a breath and got back on track.
Time for yourself is something I'm going to push you to try to create every day if you can, because it's critical to really maintaining what you're trying to put together here.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Well, I'm pleased to let you know, treatment really was vocal in our conversation today, that they're seeing a lot of effort, a lot of good enthusiasm and thinking, that you're really applying yourself. You know, we've known from day one that you have the capacity, and there have been a few conversations where I've pushed you and or treatment has pushed you because our expectations are extremely high in this program. But I think we're really starting to see what happens when Mr. Keene gets down to business and starts to really get his focus. So I'm excited to call you out in a positive way and to let you know we're going to move you to the second phase today. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you so much, Your Honor. Yeah, I'm really trying. I mean, this is a big deal for me. This is a way of life for me now. You know, since I've started the program and I've really stepped my game up and paid attention to what I'm doing, where I'm going, and interact with everybody and anybody I need to. Like, my life is getting better. Like, nothing bad is happening in my life. When I'm doing drugs and I'm out there ripping and running, like, nothing good ever happens.
Yeah.
You know, I got to fight for a miracle every now and again. And nowadays, just doing the right thing, you know, I don't even know if I'd call it a miracle anymore, you know, because when you do the right thing, good things happen.
Yeah. Well, it's just, you know, it's no longer unmanageable.
Right.
You're bringing peace into your home rather than chaos, and that pays really big dividends.
Yes, it does.
Well, and I'm excited for you to take that next step with your son tomorrow in court. I always tell people, keep your expectations low, but it sounds like you're making good progress.
We're already done. We've done the reunification and everything. It's just going across the judge's desk to finalize it.
Yeah.
So there's no keeping my expectations low. I know what we're doing. I know what's going to happen. So I'm excited and ready for this next phase.
I hope you're right, but take it from me, I have learned that judges sometimes are unreliable. I spent a good chunk of my career not being a judge, and you know, it sounds like you've got things very, very well organized and set up here. But you know, keep your side of the street clean, and then everybody else hopefully follows along, and
Absolutely.
what you expect comes to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Mr. Keene, anything you need from us?
Just a blue t-shirt, Nikki.
All right, well, follow up with Nikki, let her know. And like I said, all of you that are saying I'm in, that's good, but we will be counting on you. So,
well, I've already spoken to James about it. I've got the paperwork. He emailed it to me. So I will be there. No,
good.
Don't have to worry about that. I'll be there.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing you. Just follow up with Nikki, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Your Honor.
Keep up the good work. Congratulations again on the phase.
Thank you very much.
Let me check in next with Mr. Gonzalez.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Gonzalez. I felt like I'd been calling you toward the end there for a while, so I tried to put you toward the front this time. But
I appreciate you.
How you been doing?
Doing really good. Last week I had shared that you know, I was kind of in a funk.
Yeah.
That funk is gone. I'm back on fire. I'm back on, you know, on the right one, on the right focus and everything.
What helped?
Really just, I took a little bit of time to step back, focus more on my relationship with my higher power, put some things in order, and just, you know, really made a commitment to, you know, keep my relationship with my higher power my main focus.
So both you and Mr. Keene had a step back that paid some real dividends. That's good. I like it. That's powerful.
Absolutely. And James had shared with, I'd heard of Celebrate Recovery before. I hadn't really done too much research on it. James and I were talking, we briefly spoke about it last night in group, and I did some research. I found a couple churches here in town that do offer that. So I believe Thursday I'll start going to those. You know, for me personally, my recovery, I want, you know, kind of more faith-based, or, you know, along those lines.
Sure.
So that's what's going on with that. Work's going good, life's going good, my outlook's going good, everything's good. I have no complaints.
Well, I'm thrilled. And, you know, the old timers will tell you it's not that far back when Naples really didn't have so many great, robust options for people who are looking for recovery. It was kind of one size fits all. So I have heard great things about the folks doing Celebrate Recovery in town. I'll be interested to hear what your impressions are after you do some more investigation on that. But I'm really grateful to treatment for continually sort of pushing out new and different information, because recovery isn't one size fits all. But boy, have I seen, and I will use this word, have I seen the miracle when an individual has found, the size that fits him and really put the energy into it. Sky's the limit. So I love that you're doing some investigation, checking things out.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the team's been awesome. With suggestions, with making me think outside of the box and really analyzing everything. This is, like I've said numerous times, this is a amazing opportunity.
Good. Well, I'm thrilled to have you here. This team, and I think everybody on the call now, everybody's reading off the same sheet of music. Everybody understands this team is ready to go to the ends of the earth to help you. If you're butting heads with these guys, you got to look in the mirror and figure out what am I doing, what's going wrong, because they're here with one purpose in mind, which is to help you guys. So I love hearing that you were able to kind of work through, because funks are going to happen, right? There's no magic cure for those. Just because you're not picking up doesn't mean that life's always going to be roses.
Exactly.
So stepping back, you said sort of doing a little bit of reconnection with your higher power. That was something that was helpful to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Well, and I imagine as you get into groups and things, sharing those sorts of experiences and ideas is helpful to everyone. So I know you'll do that there. Any problems, anything that we can be helping you with, Mr. Gonzalez?
Nope, not at all. I celebrate my 90 days today, if you want to count the jail time. So that's something big right there for me. I've never done that, so
Okay.
That's pretty cool. But no, you guys are awesome. I don't need anything from y'all right now. I appreciate it.
All right, well, keep asking for help if you need it. I think I said earlier, one of the real misconceptions is that as you get deeper into the program, you tend to quit asking for help. But the guys that do well stay on that the whole time. So I'm glad things are going well. And look, whatever the number of days might be, the fact that you have never been in this space before is a huge deal. So that might be 90 days for you. It might be 10 days for somebody else. And it might be a year for the next guy, but it's always incredible. It's a really, really great thing. So we're privileged to be a part of it. If you keep bringing this attitude and this effort, I'm confident sky's the limit. Like I said, you're going to be able to do whatever you set your mind to.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Gonzalez, keep up the good work. Great job.
Thank you.
Let me touch base next with Mr. DePasquale.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. DePasquale. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Tell me what's been going on for you this week.
Still doing St. Matt's. I've got my little routine going. I usually have a UA in the morning, and from there I go to St. Matt's. From there I go to, I work a couple hours there. From there I go to the nooner, which is at TLC, and then take a couple hour break. Then I have group, and I got a great routine going on right now. Things are good. I can definitely relate to what Court was just saying about Courtney was just saying about being in a funk. I had that going myself a little while ago, and I was talking to my sponsor about it, and what it came to find out, what he has me do is working the steps I do out of the step working guide that they give you in NA, step one has like 72 questions. So what he asked me to do is just do a question a day,
Okay.
And I found myself, I stopped doing that. I was doing everything else, I was going to meetings and everything, but I stopped doing that. And when I told him about this funk I was kind of feeling, he said, "Are you doing your step work? Are you doing your question a day?" And I said, "No." And sure as nothing, I started doing that question again, and I started feeling better. It's crazy. I shared about it in group last night. It's crazy how simple it can be, but I'll complicate things, thinking it's this, it's that. And all it is just one little thing.
Yeah.
And it was just me feeling disconnected because I wasn't focusing really on what I'm doing here. You know, just kind of going through but not really working on myself.
Yeah, I think that's a really good insight, and something that I would venture to guess happens to almost everyone, if not everyone, at some point when they're going through this journey. Drug court is so intense when it starts. It's pretty normal once you kind of get the hang of it, that there might be kind of a flat space where you feel a little bit blah. But I think that the key is just understanding that and finding some constructive ways to work through it and not let it pull you off course.
Yeah, for sure. But it's good. It's good.
The other thing you mentioned that I'm excited about is the routine, because between the routine and, as you said, just a tiny bit of the routine that you let slide. Look, this is the stuff, and that routine may change a little bit over time to suit whatever you need it to do. But when you talk to the old timers, they got a routine. They got a routine, and they love their routine. And so I think you're already unlocking something that is likely to be, a good support for you for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's really important. I definitely notice like the importance of it for me, having that routine. I'm a creature of habit, and I just want, I like things set up the way I get them set up, and it's working right now.
The guys that I have seen come back on a new arrest did not ever have a conscious thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quit working my program. It was just an inch by inch little drift. One day they quit answering the questions. The next day they skipped a meeting, right? It's incremental. It's so slow. Nobody even noticed until whammo, you're upside down. And so coming to appreciate that those little details, this is why we're such sticklers about our details in here, because those details matter and they keep you safe. And you've already got that lesson. So that's valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything that you need from us, Mr. DePasquale?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you. So, are you able to figure out what I owe exactly? Because I took I made a payment yesterday, got that stimulus check. So I just want to pay everything off. And I know when I came into drug court, I think I had 90 days to pay $600 or something like that. And I think I paid it all. I made a payment to Megan for like $200 something. I think that's all I had left. It showed. Are you able to look that up?
No, I'm not, but probation is. They will be the authority on that, and that's the only group that can give you a reliable answer.
Okay, well, she gave me a sheet of paper, and she was very good about it, helping me out with it.
Yeah, double check with her at any point, and obviously when you make those payments, keep those little receipts. If you can find a folder or a box or something to toss them all into, that way you're covered if there's a question down the road.
Okay, yeah, but I think I got that paid off, so it's just the group cost now, Dave Lawrence, which I try to make every week. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great. Just trying to make sure that you are, as I said to Mr. Moreno last week, just making sure that you're making good, steady efforts to the best of your ability. That's what we require.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, definitely. Good. All right, Mr. DePasquale, keep up the good work. Great job.
All right, thanks, Your Honor.
Let me check in next with Mr. Brestol.
Hello, Your Honor.
How you doing, Mr. Brestol?
I am doing very well. Lots of life are good. I can't really say I'm struggling with anything today at this moment. Life's trending in the right direction. I have 2 weeks till I'm eligible to get my license back, which I'm really, really excited about.
Yeah.
I really am. I feel like I'm like a teenager again, getting ready to get behind the wheel.
Getting ready to turn 16.
Yeah. Recovery wise though, the group's really coming together strong. It's really been great. One-on-ones are incredible. And I'm just working on being open staying honest, and I'm always trying to take inventory. I'm not trying to live with any guilt or like past resentments or anything like that. I'm just trying to stay positive, remain optimistic about things, because things are going very well, and I don't want to get caught up.
Okay.
Yeah,
it becomes challenging to keep your feet on the ground and stay focused sometimes, and not get caught up in, everything's going great, I can quit worrying about all this work I'm doing.
Yeah, I got to keep reminding myself why I'm here, what's really going on.
Yeah, and what caused all those things to go so well. It's the work that you've been doing.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like I've embraced this, and I'm really buying into the sobriety and the lifestyle. It's really been life changing, and I'm just really grateful.
Can you have fun when you're clean and sober?
Yeah, I'm having tons of fun in group. We have fun all the time in groups and stuff, and just some of the things I really enjoy to do. I really enjoy to do in sobriety, and it's great.
Yeah, you just kind of have to. It's an adjustment I can appreciate, but once you start to recognize all the various ways that you can relax, you can unwind, recharge, have a good time, perfectly clean and sober, you're actually supporting your recovery by doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't suppose there's any chance we're going to get a guy who works at a golf course to come out on a Sunday, are we?
I talked to James. I'm shifting. I'm gonna give you or Nikki 100% answer tomorrow. I'm trying to change a shift with somebody, because I do work Sunday mornings, but I do want to be there. I want to try to network with the runners, being a runner and all.
All right.
So, all right. Yeah, I really would like to get in there. James was telling me about it, and I was really excited to hear, especially since I missed the polar plunge because I had to work on New Year's.
Yeah.
So I really want to get down there, make up for it.
I know the holidays are especially big with golfers. And in a prior life, I played golf, I won't say seriously, consistently. I played golf more consistently in a prior life. Now I'm lucky to play once a year, but I know like New Year's Day, I figured was probably a pretty big day out on the course. But if you're able to switch things up, we'll enjoy having you out there. If you can't, we understand.
No, I'm definitely going to try to make it happen for sure.
Good. I'll remind you and the half marathon is not a starter race, as I said, I think to Mr. Mattingly last week, but a 5K is a great place to start, and Gulf Coast runners will waive the entry fee for any drug court participant. So once we get through the half marathon, which is for us all work and no play, we'll make sure through Nikki and Jason to get the word out about the other races that are coming up. I think they'll be having some 5Ks, and they usually do, I think, March or April, a 10K, which is 6.2 miles. We'll have some things out there that if y'all can get away from work, you may be able to go out and see how you do running against a clock.
Yeah, the 5K sounds good, but I don't know about the half marathon. That seems like torture.
I will tell you what, I've had some drug court people do it before. I'm trying to think. I've had at least one male and two females that come to mind immediately. Tough, really tough. That's a big deal. That is something. Well, I know Mr. Darrow, our public defender, has done it. Frankly, the longer races like that, it's just all about training. If you start early enough and you have a good training regimen, then I don't know if I should say this, most anyone can do it. But if you don't really have the time and the energy to commit to a lengthy preparation and training, half marathon will humble you very quickly. But you guys will be amazed when you get out there, when you see, you're going to see people literally of all ages. You're going to see people who are older than your grandparents who are out there knocking down 13 miles like it's nothing. There's some pretty impressive people. And then you may even see some of the folks who come in from out of country to compete in this thing. There's a cash prize for the top handful of people that finish it. And it's worth flying in from distant countries to come compete in this thing. So pretty cool if you have even a little bit of interest in running.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Well, we hope we can get you out there. Is there anything else, Mr. Brestol, that you wanted to address with me?
No, you've been great.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for you on the driver's license. I know that's been a goal for a little while, and people who have driver's licenses probably don't realize what a huge deal that is. But I talked to you guys about a number of things that when you are a man in recovery, when you are a law-abiding member of a community, there's some things that you have. You'll have a bank account. You'll have a driver's license, right? These are things, and it might take you a while of being clean to get to where you have those things, but they're really important ingredients for the life that you're putting together for yourself. So I'm thrilled. I know it's been a goal for a while, and I'm excited for you to cross that one off your list, and then you guys start figuring out what your next thing's going to be that you work on.
Thank you.
Good. Keep up the good work, Mr. Brestol. Let me check in next with Mr. Mattingly.
Hey, Your Honor, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Mattingly. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm not used to the 5:30 a.m. wake up, but I got the weekend work thing done this weekend.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna be late the first day, and I wasn't. I was right on time. And then the second day, I think I was like 45 minutes early.
Okay.
But
all right.
I ended up crashing at like 8, 9 o'clock at night, which is unusual. But
yeah, you get up early and put in some hard work. It'll send you to bed early.
Yeah. But yeah, I did that, and then that's about it. I took a suggestion that was given to me and didn't go to work afterwards. So this past weekend I took off, so I didn't have too much. Okay. Because I would have ended up working from like 6:30 a.m. until 11 p.m. I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I took the time off, and after the weekend work, went to bed early, woke up early, you know.
Okay.
Good. I've just been working on, you know, like the other two said, just taking a lot of stuff off my plate, because I feel like I've been doing too much at once. And I feel like it's overwhelming me. I was talking with James the other day about feeling like I'm just not here all the way, you know, like I'm kind of detached or something, and I'm just kind of floating through.
Okay.
Possibly maybe I put too much on my plate at once, and I just kind of took a back seat and went on autopilot to get through it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I just took my time and tried to take a back seat and unload my plate so much and not carry everything all at once.
All right. Well, good. You may be ahead of some of the stuff that I had on my notes to address with you today. I think the team is picking up on some of that, and it sounds like you're already started to talk about it. I talked to you. I had you make a bonus court appearance right before Christmas because I wanted to talk to you and just kind of express, and I don't know if I did it effectively, but express a little bit of concern. Team's been concerned for a little while that we're really not getting your full focus and the best version of you, that you may be a little disengaged. You're telling me too much was on your plate. We definitely need to push you back to full engagement.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I started noticing that as well, and that was brought up to me too before that extra court appearance that I had. They were like, "Well, why do you think we had asked you to come in?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense now." Yeah.
Yeah. You know, generally, and I don't say this to freak you out, but generally in drug court, we have a fair amount of information. We generally kind of know what's going on, and we do our best to push people in the right direction. And the vast majority of folks take that hint and run with it and work well with it. But I'm being very honest with you to say we have been concerned. And I will say this as well. And I choose my words carefully here. I don't want to accuse you, but some of what we're seeing from a behavior standpoint suggests either that you are using or you're at high risk of picking up and using. Either way, that you either are relapsing or we talked about a mental relapse happens before the actual relapse. You're in that red zone, the disengaged, that sort of thing, and have been now for a few weeks. Our policy is absolute honesty. If you take advantage of it, you can do just fine. Mr. Moreno's a great example, but if you don't, I gotta tell you, if something is going on and you're not talking to us about it, you may have been okay for the last however many weeks it's been going on, but please know we're seeing behaviors that have us concerned, and it always comes out eventually. Guys think I got this, but you're here because you can't manage life if you're not clean and sober. So I want to strongly encourage you, if there's something you need to be talking to the team about, be talking to them. And the fact that you haven't gotten in some sort of trouble, don't let that be what you worry about. I don't want you to get in trouble. I want you to step forward and get the help that you need. But if something's going on that's not right with drug court, eventually that's going to be something you're not going to be able to hide from us. And I hope that it's not, but I'm going to give you a solid gut check on, you got to talk to us. And the sooner you talk to us, the better everything goes. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. I haven't used or relapsed or anything yet. Okay. And to be honest with you, I haven't even realized myself that I was, I guess, disassociated and just kind of floating through.
Okay.
It was brought to my attention both by the David Lawrence staff and people that know me. They're like, hey, are you okay? You don't seem like you're all here. And I think I was the last person to notice it. So I called James and I started talking with James, and I did immediately, I wasn't called for a drug test that day, but I did immediately go in and take one. But yeah, I think I was the last one to notice that I just wasn't there. I wasn't being myself.
Okay.
And it was brought to my attention by multiple people. And then I finally sat down and thought about it. I was like, is that really a thing, or, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I called James and talked to him about it and told him, how I was feeling, and I didn't understand what was going on.
Okay. Well, I accept what you're telling me, and I'm hopeful that you're already on the pathway to, turning around whatever it was and getting the focus that you need. I understood that you had a situation, I think it was last week, where you were pretty significantly late to one of your groups.
Last Friday, yeah, I was a little bit late to my group. I ended up staying for the extra hour afterwards to make up for it with James.
Okay.
It was the IOP portion, I think it was. The extra hour after, I ended up staying with James and the IOP group and made up for the time that I was late.
Okay. Well, it's probably not the first time that James has been nicer than I am. That's his job. But, if the judge were running the group, when you show up late, I would just say, you're done, go report into probation. It's not something that's okay. And I hope I haven't given you the wrong impression, because you've been late before and we haven't done anything, terribly disruptive to you as a consequence for that. But it isn't something that I can allow to happen. And when if you make a mistake, drug court tries to, give you a consequence and help you move on. When you're making the same mistake repeatedly, that again, that's where you get sort of a different level of attention from me. So it is something I need you to understand that I take very seriously, and especially because we'd already had this. Now, I think when I reference a prior situation, it wasn't, I don't think it was a late group. I think it was an oversleeping and missing your drug call window, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the same sort of backstory.
I had overslept and missed my call. Yeah.
Missed your call. This time was, I think, and maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, I think the explanation that was offered was that you had overslept. That's why you missed the start of group.
Yes, ma'am.
So why is that still happening?
I was just up late the night before. That's all.
Okay. All right.
I got up. I turned my alarm off. I sat back down for a second and woke up late and freaked out.
Okay.
That's honestly what happened.
All right. Well, like I said, as a team, we talked. We had some conversation because we do our best to do two things whenever we have any kind of an infraction like this. We do our best to be consistent so that if one guy makes this mistake and another guy makes this mistake, they're treated roughly the same. But we also have to then consider your individual circumstances. If one guy's made the mistake for the first time and the other guy's making the mistake for the third time, well, that's going to be a reason that we do something a little bit different. We're concerned that we need to get this focus. And like I said, maybe you're already on the right path with that. But being the report that I got was about 40 minutes late. And so, like I said, James was nice to let you kind of make up the hour, but I'm still concerned that I've got a situation. The team the consequence this team discussed is this, and I'll tell you, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about, should I have you come into court in person and go into custody, similar to what I did with Mr. O'Brien a few weeks ago. Ultimately, we decided that while harsh, severe, that really doesn't get to the time management issue that I want to hammer home with this situation. And I think, like I said, I think you're already making some good moves in the right direction of saying, if I got to get up early, then I can't work late. I've got to rework my routine a little bit. Well, what we're talking about doing is having you do some more of the weekend work program. It is something that requires you to be up early. It is something that requires you to be on time. You're supervised by law enforcement doing community service. And so it is, on the scheme of things, a more serious sanction. We would have you do more of that. Last time, I think I gave you 2 days, and I even gave you some grace, some pretty significant grace last week in letting you have a second shot at getting the 2 days work. So that's our backdrop for this. What the team has discussed is this, that we would propose a sanction of weekend work, that I would impose a sanction of 8 days. That's 4 weekends. It's basically a month of weekend work. But I will give you a footnote here that's important. I'll give you the opportunity, because I think you're already trying to work on some things, I'll give you the opportunity to have me take 2 of those days back. If over the next, it'll be about 4 weeks, it'll take you to work 3 weekends, because you won't start this weekend, you'll start next weekend. And then I think there might be a break for the last weekend of the month, like you saw before. So it may take you more than 3 weeks to work the first 3 weekends. But if when you've completed your 3rd weekend, the team is convinced that we've gotten the response from you we're looking to get, the buy-in, the effort, the focus, then I will tell you now that I'll take 2 of the days back and leave it at 6. Does that make sense? It was kind of a convoluted explanation.
Yes, ma'am, I understand it.
So I would impose 8 days, but give you the opportunity to cap it at 6 if we get your best effort and we really get the turnaround that we're looking for. I'm always looking to try to incentivize you guys buying into your own best efforts. So that's the structure there. Do I need to clarify anything about what we're proposing?
No, ma'am, I understand.
Is there anything you want to clarify or that I need to understand better about what's up or what we need to do about it?
I feel like you might understand it pretty well.
All right.
There's no clarification needed.
Do you want to accept the sanction then and stay on in good standing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the team will help me remember, because it'll, like I said, it'll probably be, I think it's going to take you 5 weeks to get 3 weekends under your belt. You now know what the process is. So connect with them and we'll make sure that you get on the roster. And I've got LaTrenda on the call. I'll ask her to connect with, who's your case manager, Nikki or Jason? You know?
I talked to them both. I
don't think there's been a lot of rules on that. But I'll ask LaTrenda, if you'll copy Nikki and Jason on an email, let's just make sure that we get good connection and ensure that Mr. Mattingly is on the roster. It would be, I don't know if I made a note of it, this weekend is 16, 17, so it's 23, 24 will be the weekend that you'll actually start working. And that'll give you a chance to give a heads up to your job, organize your shifts, and so forth. So with your consent, I'll sign that order, impose that sanction. And then, like I was starting to say, the team will help me remember to take a look once you've got 6 days in and see if it's appropriate to have you work the other 2 or to have me pull that back. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else on another topic? Anything else that we need to address today, Mr. Mattingly?
Not today, ma'am. No.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Mattingly, I'm excited to say we make a fresh start from here. Whatever's been going on, speak up, be honest, give your full attention, and we can avoid anything worse than a little bit of weekend work being in your pathway. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. May I?
Okay. You may, and just come on back and join us. All right, and Mr. Moreno, thank you for your patience. Mr. Moreno, how are you doing?
Can't complain, Your Honor. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. Part of my method today, Mr. Moreno, was to try to get to people as they signed on, and I think Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Keene were among the first. You signed on, I think, at exactly 2:45. You make me nervous every week. Some weeks you've been a minute or 2 late, and as I've just finished talking to Mr. Mattingly, I can't have that. Is anything going on? Do we need to address anything?
No, ma'am. I just tried to jump on exactly at 2:45. I usually,
Okay.
I got the phone ready there at that, right? So I sign in usually right at the time. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but no, everything's been going really, really great, Your Honor. I was just, I've been doing a lot of me time.
I lost volume there a little bit. Somebody calling you?
Yes, ma'am. Someone's calling me. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of me time. Definitely. I definitely don't feel the team. I don't consider the team anymore. To me, I more consider it as a family. Okay. James and Brooke has been like a mother father figure to me. They're very, they'll put me in my spot if they need to, and I've been very, communicative with them, and I've been, working on my medicine, trying to wing myself off, and I've been being very honest with them and stuff like that. And I've been, the normal routine. Definitely, Megan's been a really good help. I actually got a hold of her yesterday, and I made a restitution payment for $150. Finally, it's been so long that I made a payment, so I did that. And yeah, I've been checking in on Saturdays with her. So I mean, everything's going great, Your Honor. I'm just
good.
I can't be more grateful that I'm the person I am today. I'm like trying my best, to be as honest as I can and be open with everyone and be a friend and a brother to all the guys that want me, to help them. I go out of my way. I'll pick any of the guys up,
Okay.
If they got a UA. And I'm just definitely trying to build, not trying to build a family, that I never had. And it's just such a great feeling to have, my therapist more like a mother and father figure to me than, just therapists. So I mean, everything's been going fantastic.
Good. I will say this so they don't have to. They are not nearly old enough to be mother or father figures. But the point is well taken, and I'm really, really glad that you're building that trust and that you're having a really good experience, a good working relationship with them. That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to be sure to let you know that I was made aware that you did get that payment made. I know I've been talking to you about it. I just encourage you, as I said last week, keep it a priority. Keep making sure that you're making all reasonable efforts to stay on top of that. The state attorney has mentioned a few times to us, the person involved in your case that you're making restitution to, really pushed back. The state attorney went to battle for you to get you the drug court opportunity because you can't get this opportunity if your victim objects. So I just want you to, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but I do very much want to keep that in your mind. This opportunity was made available to you because of that promise that you made. So you got to try to keep up with that promise. And I think you can do it. You were very good when you first joined us. You had 2 jobs in the first 2 days. But it's about balance. It's about making sure there's me time as well. And I think it sounds like these last few weeks you've been trying to stay busy, get the work done and the bills and the restitution paid, but also have the me time and keep the balance and so forth. Is that a pretty fair description?
Yes, ma'am. It's been more of a me time. I just been working just to get by. But now that I'm definitely figuring everything out and all my schedules and everything, I'm definitely going to get back into my work mode because I don't like having, my pockets, right at, empty. And once I pay all the bills and stuff, that's definitely not me. I'm definitely a person that I definitely like having money in my pocket and be able to pay things and not see my pockets empty. So I'm definitely going to start working on that a lot more now, getting work schedule more.
Okay. And that's good. Like I said, the key to this whole thing, you'll hear me say this 1,000 times before you move on, balance. You're all looking for balance, and it's a little different for each of you. You've all got different jobs, different family structures, and so forth. Some guys are at their absolute happiest when they're working 50 hours a week. Other guys, once they get more than 30, 35 hours, they're out of whack. It's too much. So everybody's got their own, and we just want to support you in figuring that out for yourself. We won't micromanage your life, but I will always preach balance to you. So it sounds like there's a little bit of room to pull some more work in, but don't overshoot the mark. Be thoughtful about how much you take on. You do want to get to, just like you said, so that you're not stressed out about your bills all the time, and you've got the ability to fix your car if something goes wrong one day. That's the goal that we're working you toward. And I don't expect it to be overnight, but that's what I want you to be aiming toward. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely will. I'll pick up the step a little bit and you'll start seeing it. I definitely wanted to make sure that I have myself, in line, and make sure that, I'm even helping out the guys and stuff. So I know I got a little extra time, so
yeah. I
definitely just want to start picking up and building more of a bond, with like the clinicians and definitely, just being myself. And, this medicine's had me a little weird too. So I'm definitely trying to wing myself off of that. And little by little, and like you say, everything don't happen in a day. So I'm definitely taking my steps properly. So
good. And you said the medication, you're working with treatment on whatever it is you're doing there, right?
Yes, ma'am. I let them know everything. Yes, ma'am.
Good. And that's as much as that's the full extent of what's my business, is just making sure that treatment's a part of that conversation with you. So, in the last thing I wanted to note, I think your enthusiasm for building a network of good people around you, you're right on with that, and you got to be choosy. You got to be picky. Just because someone's in drug court or someone's in the rooms doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good company for you. But there's a lot to be said for the old phrase, right? Stick with the winners. you know, because you had a leg up when you joined us. You had an alum for a sister. And you know, she got there by losing the bad friends and keeping the good friends close. It doesn't have to be 100 people. It might be 1 or 2, but being really choosy about that. I encourage you. I think you're onto something good there.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to be able to come out Sunday. That's a good place to do some bonding.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will be there.
Awesome. Well, I think we're shaping up to be a powerful team. So I'll say one last time, everybody, please let Nikki know, because I'm going to be making some decisions on how and when and where we do things based on how many folks we got signed up. So don't just show up Sunday. You'll really be helping us out if you let Nikki know well in advance and we can plan. And again, if you tell her you're coming, follow through. We're going to be counting on you. Okay, you're part of a team and everybody's relying on each other to get the project done together. So I'm really excited to see you guys. If you can't make it again, no worries. But if you can join us, I can pretty well promise you this will be fun. You'll have 2-3 hours of no getting stuck in your head. You're going to be around good people, and you can join me in gawking at 1,000 people who are running 13 miles without any very good reason at all. It's just the craziest thing you ever wanted to see. So we'll have fun out there together. We'll be a part of something. With that, I will let you guys go a couple minutes early. I'm really excited for you, thrilled with how well things are going. Great progress for each of you. Keep it up. I'll see as many of you Sunday as we can. Thanks, guys, and thanks, team.